So here's the deal, my friends. I always had trouble getting great aftermarket sound until I started factoring these checks into my planning process. What are those checks, and how can you measure the baseline performance of your audio system to highlight areas to improve? Today, my friends, I am excited to announce that we have a new vehicle here on the channel that we are going to be diving into, so why not go into the process together? Let's make our installation go a lot smoother with proper planning. So first off, for those of you that may be new here, welcome to the channel. This is CarAudioFabrication, and I'm Mark. And here on this channel, together we learn how to master car audio and how to design, build, and install our dream car audio system. Now, the new vehicle for the channel is right behind me, and it's actually not a new vehicle at all. This is a used 2016 Volkswagen Golf GTI. For those of you that might be familiar with the platform, that makes this a Mark 7 GTI. These are just a really fun, zippy little car. I've always wanted one of these, and one of the main things I like about this is the fact that it is a hatchback. We haven't done too much of hatchback style content here on the channel in the past, so this is going to give us a lot of opportunity for some cool new projects. Now, with that said, the checks that we're going to go through here as part of our planning process can really be applied to any vehicle, so let's get into it. So for our first check here, we want to pop the hood, and that's because I want to look at the battery and our firewall access. I want to immediately start thinking, how am I going to get power from my battery to the amplifiers and the other audio equipment in our vehicle? We want to grab ourselves a flashlight, and we want to start scanning along the firewall, looking for an unused grommet, and if we can't find one, we want to look for a nice flat area that we can make a new hole in order to access the inside of the vehicle. It's probably a bit hard to see here on camera, but I've found a spot here on the firewall that has a cutout in the materials that we can peel back and go through the firewall in a grommet. Now, especially for when we are unable to find an area to go through the firewall and we need to make our own new hole, we want to make sure that we double check both sides. So we also want to look here in the vehicle. But in this case, here's that easy to use grommet location that I was showing from before. So thankfully in this vehicle, it's going to be incredibly easy to run that main power wire lead into the vehicle. And I understand that that's not the case for every single vehicle, but this is the important part of running these checks. You're going to have a better idea for planning how much time you're going to need in order to do this install. There's nothing worse than getting started on an install, having everything all torn apart, and running out of time before you need to use the vehicle again. So if you do find that your vehicle is more challenging, at least you're going to know ahead of time and be able to allow yourself some more time for the install. Now, a quick side note, when you do go to install all of this car audio gear, you're of course going to need a bunch of different wiring, and for this, I recommend our show sponsor, New Concepts. So New Concepts has all of the different wiring parts that you're going to need a la carte, or you can get one of their handy amplifier install kits. This includes everything that you're going to need, like RCA signal wire. In this case, this kit is for installing a 4-channel amplifier, so they've given us a 4-channel RCA. You always need to make sure that you have an inline fuse installed on that lead that runs to the battery, so they give us that fuse holder. They give us ground wire, some split loom in order to protect the wiring under the hood, our main power lead, some remote turn-on wire, speaker wire, and a ton of different electrical connectors, even a grommet that we can use in case we do need to make our own hole in the firewall. New Concepts has a ton of different amplifier wiring kit options on their site, so next time you need an amp kit for your build, be sure to check them out at the links down in the video description. The next check that I like to focus on for planning our new aftermarket system is the source unit. We need to determine for our vehicle, are we going to use the factory OEM source, or are we going to upgrade to aftermarket? On this particular vehicle, it's actually kind of unique. Part of the brain unit for the head unit is in here. See the little CD player slot? And check that out. They even have a large format SD slot. Now, when it comes to making this consideration, unfortunately, not every vehicle can have a head unit easily be replaced. In order to check if it can or can't be replaced, I recommend another show sponsor, and that is Crutchfield. On their website, you can easily look up your vehicle, and you can see if there is a solution out there for upgrading to an aftermarket unit. If you can't upgrade your factory unit, not all is lost though, because we can still easily do something that is called OEM factory integration. With OEM integration, we will retain the factory system as the main source, but we're still going to add aftermarket gear like amplifiers amplifiers and DSP processors in order to perfect the sound. Now, doing OEM integration is a bit more complex and there is a lot that you need to know, but I made a full overview video recently here on the channel that you guys can go and check out. Again, the point here is doing this check and going through this part of the planning process is a great choice. Don't just buy an aftermarket head unit and assume that you're going to be able to take out the factory one and make the same colored connections. It doesn't work like that anymore. You need to go through the proper planning process and determine, are you going with OEM integration or are you going with an aftermarket head unit? Because that's going to influence the gear that you purchase as well if you do need to interface with the factory system. Now, in this particular vehicle, this does not have the factory premium system, which is a Fender branded system, which means since it has the base audio system, I can upgrade the head unit to an aftermarket head unit. We'll likely be doing that upcoming here on the channel. The next check you're going to want to perform is taking a look at the factory speaker locations. We're going to talk about the locations of the subwoofers in the back in a second here, but when you're taking a look at the factory locations, you kind of want to evaluate if the factory locations are going to meet your needs for your goals of the system. As an example, in this vehicle, you saw that we have basically a two-way front component set up stock. We have a woofer down in the door, and we have a tweeter location up in the A-pillar of the vehicle. Evaluating the level of performance that we're hoping to achieve does determine how much fabrication and custom upgrading we're going to need to do in the vehicle, which again affects the time that is going to be needed for your project. In this case, while a two-way component upgrade with a woofer and a tweeter can make for a great sound stage and upgrade, I ultimately would like to go with a three-way component set, which means for my evaluation, installing a door woofer isn't going to be horribly difficult. I can obviously do all the sound treatment process and all of the proper upgrade procedure there in order to get the best sound. But when it comes to adding both a mid-range driver and a tweeter up here, up high on the dash, I'm going to need to do some custom fabrication. Obviously, the factory mount here likely is only going to accommodate a small tweeter. If I want to add something like a 3-inch mid-range, I'm going to need to come up with a new unique mounting solution for that. So that could be a custom A-pillar, that could be a custom dash type pod that holds both the mid and the tweeter. For some vehicles, it could be potentially modifying the door panel to hold the mid-range driver. Depending on the complexity of the build that you're willing to accommodate, maybe you're even going to move the woofer to a kick panel location. And you of course don't want to evaluate just the front of the vehicle, you also need to consider the rear. Even checking and researching how difficult it is going to be to remove these factory panels in order to access the OEM speakers is going to be beneficial. It's going to allow you to better plan how much time you're going to need to complete your build. Now, speaking of the rear, you of course also want to plan out where you're going to install your subwoofers and amplifiers. And of course, this changes from vehicle to vehicle. In my case, I'm going to install into the rear hatch here, which obviously makes the most sense for this vehicle. But a few things to look out for. I recommend pulling out the trim and then start evaluating some of the different areas that you can use for wiring. Obviously, you're going to need signal wiring going up to the front of the vehicle along with all the different speaker wiring. You're going to need power wiring. Consider how you can potentially divide those if possible. That separation isn't as critical with today's high quality equipment, but the point is, evaluate up front in order to have a better planning process. Now, something else you should incorporate as part of that planning process is some measuring. Take some initial measurements of the width, of the depth, and of the height that you would like to use for your car audio gear and your subwoofer enclosure. And don't just measure the overall space, determine how much space you are actually willing to give up for your build. Do you want to still have a usable cargo area, or are you okay with using it all up? One of the unique features that I really like about the GTI here is this subfloor. Look at how there's two different levels of it. This vehicle is kind of unique in the way that they designed this. You can have this floor panel piece sit down below, which maximizes your usable cargo area, of course, or what you can do is instead, you can have it on that upper notch like that, And what that means is there is a substantial thickness of available room underneath this panel now. Now don't quote me on this, this is just some of my initial thinking on this project, but I think what I might do is actually remake this factory panel, make an aftermarket version, and have some like cutouts in it that might display some of the amplifiers, the DSP, different audio gear that's going to be back here, maybe even integrate the subwoofer enclosure into the floor of the vehicle. The idea being that for this first build, maybe it will be super stealthy and still have all of this usable cargo space up here, or maybe switch it up a little bit. Maybe I will have it kind of end right here and have a small subwoofer enclosure that fires through this pass-through. Still have the amplifiers, DSP, and all the wiring down in the floor here. But I love that we have this usable space here, and I think I'm actually going to get rid of the spare tire in this case just to have some more area for the gear. Now the final check we want to do is we want to get a baseline measurement of the performance of this audio system. Evaluating the stock audio system is going to give us some insight on what areas we should look to improve, and we'll of course also be able to verify that we've made improvements as we go through our install process. Now there are many different ways to measure the audio performance of a system. In this case, let's focus on using Room EQ Wizard, which is REW, and we also have a USB measurement microphone here, along with a flash drive that is loaded up with some of my favorite test tracks in terms of music, but also a pink noise file. We can actually use REW to create our pink noise file by choosing generator. We can choose pink periodic noise. In this case, we're evaluating the full system, so full range. I like to use a -3 dB output value here. And rather than playing it through our system, we're going to save to file. In this case, we're going to go mono, 48 kilohertz, but if you did want to change your format, you can. And repetitions is how long it's actually going to play for. Here we can simply save as a WAV file and then transfer to our USB. A quick side note, before you do this process, make sure that your audio settings are set to flat. For taking an RTA measurement, we're going to grab our laptop along with our measurement microphone with REW loaded up and get inside the vehicle. Now with playing pink noise through the vehicle at a moderate listening level, we are going to click RTA. Obviously I don't have pink noise playing right now so that you guys can hear me talk and say what I'm doing. Some quick settings for you. We're going to click this settings icon. For mode, I want 148. No smoothing, FFT length of 64K. Averages, we want to go forever. We want a rectangular window, a max overlap of 93.75. And to get rid of the bars that Room EQ Wizard often has, we can go appearance and make sure that this button right here is not checked. Once we have pink noise playing at a moderate listening level, we are going to start the RTA. And with using the moving microphone method where I take an average in the space around my listening position, we're going to take an RTA measurement until we get up to 100 averages, at which case we can then end the measurement. Once we've taken the measurement, we can click to save it. We can close our RTA window. We can go to the All SPL section and we can begin to evaluate it. After I took an all RTA measurement with all speakers playing in the vehicle, I repeated that process several different times using the fader and balance control in order to have a front left measurement, a front right, a rear left, and rear right. You'll also notice that I applied some smoothing here. That way we can better evaluate what's actually going on with removing a little bit of the noise. To apply smoothing, you just use this drop-down menu and pick your option that you would like to use and apply it as needed. When listening by ear to this factory audio system, I definitely noticed that it was quite a bit mid-bass heavy, but not in a good way. It seemed like the mid-bass definitely outweighed the rest of the performance of the system, and we can see this here in the overall RTA measurement. Also, when listening by ear, I noticed that the vocals just sounded kind of thin and not very articulate. Again, we see this in the data with a dip at the 500 Hertz range, which would correspond with the lack of the vocals having a sort of weight to them, along with that dip around the 2500 Hertz range that corresponds with the vocals not being as detailed. Now, I also noticed that the center image in this vehicle tends to wander quite a bit from left to right as you listen to different vocal tracks, and that's kind of proven here with our measurements of the front left versus the front right. At some frequencies in the listening listening position, there is more than a 10 dB difference between the left and right side. We see that same 500 Hertz dip on both the front and rear speakers, and measuring the rear speakers, there wasn't as big a difference from left to right, but definitely some areas to improve here, along with, again, that overall system response. Improvements that we can definitely make by incorporating a digital signal processor as part of our upgraded system, along with using higher quality components. So with all these considerations and checks, now we have a better idea how we can plan and move forward with the upgrade of our car audio system. Upcoming on our project here, we need to plan the exact specifics on our wiring and proper sizing of it. We need to get the head unit upgraded. We need to physically install the wiring and much, much more. If you are new here, I'd love to have you as a subscriber to catch those future videos. Don't forget, next time you need an amplifier wiring kit for your car audio build, to check out our show sponsor, New Concepts. They have a ton of different options, and you can learn more at the links down in the video description. A big thanks to them, along with Jerry and the rest of the Patreon membership team, for making these videos possible. And as always, my friends, thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching.